former chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator John Eno, and former chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Finance, Honorable Babangida Ibrahim, permanent secretaries of the various ministries, and Your Excellency, may I, at this point, especially recognize one who's representing the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the First Lady of Kwara State, Mrs. Abdurrahman Abdulrazak. The Inspector General of Police, representatives of the Controllers General of Customs, Nigeria Immigration Service, representative of the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Chairman of the Joint Tax Board.
This is the go-live ceremony of the Joint Tax Board TIN, Tax Identifier Number Registration System. It is a consolidated national tax database that is aimed at further strengthening the tax compliance system in Nigeria. It is coming to you from the Nigerian Air Force Conference Center in Abuja, and I am Leah Katun Baba today, and will be running your commentaries for the time of this event.
Board members of the FIR.
During the first tenure of this government, the Joint Tax Board recorded achievements in the expansion of tax base. A cumulative number of taxpayers in Nigeria rose from 10 million to 20 million by the end of 2018, with an expected 45 million by the end of 2019.
Heads of professional institutions in the country, heads of private institutions here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cyril Stober, and I'll be anchoring this event along with my colleague, Omotayo Omotosho, MFR. Omotayo.
You're very much welcome. Thank you.
We'd like to welcome you to this ceremony, which has been tagged the go-live ceremony of the JTB TIN registration system. Of course, TIN being taxpayer identification number. This event is under the auspices of the Joint Tax Board. At this point, we would go straight and ask that the Executive Secretary of the Joint Tax Board, Mr. Hosseini Elama, we do invite him at this point to come forward and formally welcome you to the start of this ceremony. Mr. Elama.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished invited guests, please permit me to respectfully observe the already established protocol. It gives me great pleasure to specially welcome His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and everyone to this very significant ceremony of the official flag-off of the new National Taxpayers Identification Registration System and Consolidated Tax Database. As the world continues to grasp the possibility presented by evolving trends in information communication technology, it has become necessary to ensure that the process of domestic tax revenue administration meets up to the developing trends. The new TIN registration system and its consolidated tax database of individual and corporate taxpayer records have been designed to become the foundation on which the nation's automated tax administration system is built on. The new TIN registration system is a web-based solution offering access to authorized users to initiate TIN requests from the comfort of their offices or home, on real-time online, verify their tax status, and print their TIN certificates. It is a transparent system that assures timely and accurate collection and recording of basic identification data. It also permits the tax administrator to understand its taxpayer base for effective revenue projections and other planning activities. It is pertinent to note that the new system leverages on existing data from relevant identity management agencies to reduce the burden of multiple registration of taxpayers. It promotes the ease of doing business and paying taxes. It also ensures a seamless integration and exchange of information among the various tax authorities within and outside Nigeria, as well as with other authorized third-party organizations, agencies, and institutions via the web service. The main benefits of the new system are that it is innovative, it provides convenience, and promotes transparency. Finally, I wish to appreciate our partners in this endeavor, especially our indefatigable chairman, Mr. Babatunde Fowler, for his commitment and support towards the realization of this project. Mr. Chairman, your visionary leadership and the zeal for continuous improvement on performance is the secret behind this feat today. To our esteemed board members of the Joint Task Board, whose desire to further expand the horizon of tax administration and optimize internally generated revenue in Nigeria was the inspiration behind the initiative, we say thank you very much. It is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to welcome you all, and thank you for taking time to honor our invitation to this epoch-making event. We are confident that our collective efforts will indeed move the country in the right path of economic growth and development and inclusive tax administration in Nigeria. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Oseni Elama, Executive Secretary of the Joint Tax Board. Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, what we're about to witness now is a brief representation of the ideals of the tax identification number. And so, in the next 3 minutes, we would see a presentation live on this matter. Thank you.
Hey, Mama Taju. Look, Mama Taju, please, don't delay me. You know that this nothing the Abuja people can be. Sorry, is my phone with me or with you? Okay, the phone is with me. What are those documents that you go to? Tax identification number, copy registration. Okay. What about mine? That's Atia! I heard one man Taka, you put an operator who will last me for 2 months. If he had to take 2 months for me to get this agricultural loan from all this Lagos people, I don't even know what. Where is the Kumara? No, I'm even confused. What's this paper? Where's even the tax paper? Yeah? This is it. Isa! Bring your number! Where is the bill? Okay? Bill number, okay, this is it. I don't even get time for time. This Lagos traffic. Guys, what is the address? Zonem. Yo. What is even the office address? Usana Fatu. Yes. Do. Atalama Fufunoa. Is it a crime for a successful businessman to own plenty businesses? I don't even know what I am going to do now since I am traveling from Onitsha to Lagos to go and buy this plaza. Where are my papers? Oh, okay, Chuku. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Where is this boy? Come, please, oh. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Where is my... where is my tax receipt?
It's inside the house, so let me go and bring it.
Okay, be here. Come first. I'm also looking for my business registration.
It's inside the car. Let me go and carry it.
Okay, come now, please. Just come and help me out. I'm also looking for my tax tin number, the paper.
It's inside the bedroom. Let me go and bring it.
Okay, come. This thing is too much. I have killed somebody's dad. After they will say I use them for money rituals.
Ignorance is not an excuse. When you are ignorant, you end up like Osama. Hey, Emma, in this time and age, I don't even have your time. Yeah, lady.
I'm confused.
Yeah, but that's a confused one. You pass papers. How about a lady?
It's a tax number.
Then the bottom again and then bottom don't for 9 yammering my ass. Hi, Chief. Chief, who's here? Now, Chief, he ain't so good. How can 3 mighty businessmen like you still be going through all this? I'm embarrassed. Oh my God! In this time and age! Oh, have you not heard of JTBC?
The JTBC.
Oh my God! It's the best thing that has happened to me. Oh, JTBC, the Joint Tax Board, Taxpayers Identification Number. It makes my life so sweet.
Yeah.
See, with JTBC, in this Nigeria, for the first time in Nigerian history, everything happening has been consolidated into one tax database.
Okay.
Well, that way your life is easier. Every agency that is involved in tax administration is involved. They work together in synergy to make our life easier. No more paperwork, no more traveling from one place to the other.
In Nigeria.
Yeah. See, you can sit in your house from the comfort of your bedroom.
Yeah.
Just download the JTBC. You can create your new SIM number, print your SIM certificate. You can do whatever you need. It's easy. Less time wasted, less human interference, thereby removing corruption. No, Oga, give me 500 naira to move your file. Nala.
Look, madam, as an international businessman that I am, what will happen to me when I go out and I try to attend it?
Otumba, why are you talking like a local citizen? Otumba, listen. It has to do with the internet, with the 24/7 available. Even money was down that is using internet now.
Okay, me that want to acquire agricultural land and collect loan would.
It doesn't matter if you want to acquire your video. Don't do the whole thing online. Put it on your phone.
Akakawai,
Simple. At the culture of working, everything is sorted out.
are you trying to tell me that I don't have to leave any of my shops to travel to Abuja or Lagos to?
Chief, how about that play? Calm down. See, it doesn't matter if it is Aka God International or Chinedu Transportation. All your businesses will come under one supervision. Wherever you walk into, anywhere on the face of the planet, in this country, all it takes is JTBC, one click, and you're done. Oh, gee. Oh, thank you. You pay for the
I think this information also celebration.
I'm happy, I tell you, say,
I like that. Me, I like my country. I like the land and people. JTBC for Nigeria. It will help us to make Nigeria better. It will help us to make Nigeria better. It will help us to make Nigeria better.
Today, as we appreciate the new administration under the leadership of the President and the Vice President for the ease of doing business, today I want to also confidently brag about the ease of paying taxes. I was saying, don't be like the foolish Igbo man or the foolish Yoruba man, the foolish Hausa man who didn't have this information on stage here. We're saying today, key into this system, be a part of it, and with this new system, paying taxes will be very easy. I also want to establish the fact that we have a few agencies that are also a part of it. So whether you are aligning with the custom, with the road safety, with every agency you pay revenue to, they are a part of this structure and a part of this system. We call it to be a part of the new JTB team, and I'm sure with this, we can get a better Nigeria and we can hit our next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chooks, the General, underlining the essence of that drama we just watched. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point, let me bring back my colleague, Omotayo Omotosho.
Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I stand on existing protocols. Just like the gentleman that came to do what we call outro did say, with the JTB team that we're launching today, it gives us an assurance of a better Nigeria. This is one acronym myself and some other Nigerians have been propagating for over 30 years on television, the path towards a greater Nigeria. It gladdens my heart to say that we have one of our leading government parastatals, FIRS, and of course JTB, putting heads together to ensure that indeed, in reality, not just in words, that we evolve a better Nigeria. This takes me to the gentleman I'm going to call now to talk to us. You may wonder, who is Omotayo about calling? Or who is she talking about? I'm talking of a gentleman that when he lays his hands on the plow, he doesn't look back. And he shares the same vision of a better Nigeria with our Vice President, because they date back many, many years ago. For those of us that have been waiting for the Vice President's arrival, it is not in his character to come late to any event. I've been master of ceremony of several big government events in Abuja and outside, where we would expect our Vice President, and I dare say he came on time. He came to time. He came right on time. That round of applause is too small for the Vice President. When it's time for him to talk, I'm sure he's going to tell us what delayed him. It is not in his character to come to events late. It is not. Without much ado, during the first tenure of this administration, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, the JTB recorded, under the supervision of the Executive Chairman JTB, Dr. Tunde Fowler, Facts and figures I'm about remunerating and mentioning to you. Facts and figures. The expansion, number one, of the tax base was recorded during the tenure of this administration by JTB, supervised by Dr. Babatunde Fowler. 2, a growth in the IGR of states by over 46.11%, from 800 billion naira in 2016 to 1.16 trillion in 2018. Yes, I think the entire team led by Dr. Fowler deserves a louder round of applause. Dr. Fowler would always tell you, it's a teamwork. It's not just him alone, it's a teamwork. And then the third point, during the tenure of the President Muhammadu Buhari, the first tenure, it witnessed a growth of FRS collection by 53.81%, from 3.3 trillion in 2016 to 5.32 trillion in 2018. With a total 2018 collection of 5.32 trillion, this happens to be the highest collection ever recorded in the history of Nigeria and FIRS. I am not just reading facts to you on paper. I'm part and parcel of what's going on at FIRS. As a TV journalist, I go often at time with my TV crew to quest for information, to put them on the hot seat, to see what they are doing towards evolving a better Nigeria. And so I'm not just playing on words. I'm telling you what I know as fact and figures. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, can you please put your hands together as I call on the Executive Chairman, FIRS, and Chairman, JTB, Dr. Babatunde Fowler.
Thank you very much. But let me first of all put on record, the Vice President did not come late. He actually came at a time stated on the invite for him. So please, we accept responsibility that some people were here before his arrival, which should be, but he did come on time. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the former Chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Mr. John Eno, the former Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Finance, Honorable Babangida Ibrahim. I've invited them here today because it was under their tenure that all this took place. So we just thought it's proper that they also come and rejoice with us as we launch this new initiative in Nigeria. Once again, I'd like to thank the chairman of those committees in the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Inspector General of Police, who is here. Without him, you can imagine how tax administration would be. Although we leave enforcement to the very last, his men make sure that there is calm, as the police say, calm and order in all that we do. So the Inspector General of Police, I thank you for your cooperation. The Deputy Controller General of Customs, who is also a major stakeholder. The General Controller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service. The Deputy Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety. Permanent secretaries here present, especially the Permanent Secretary being represented by the First Lady of Kwara State, Her Excellency. Well, you're most welcome in both capacities, both as the First Lady and also representing Foreign Affairs. the formal chairman of FIRS, who are both here present, on which we built, on which they left a very strong foundation, on which we're building on. We thank you for your presence. The Executive Secretary of the JTB, another chairman of State Internal Revenue Services, you're most welcome, and other co-opted members of the JTB and board members of the FIRS. And with that, please permit me to rest on existing protocol. It is indeed a delight to welcome Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and all other distinguished guests here today to this very significant event, which marks the official go-live of the new National Taxpayer Identification Number registration system. Tax revenue administration in the 21st century has evolved into a systematic and deliberate process that is underpinned by the availability of accurate and reliable data. It entails deliberate and strategic planning initiatives, well-informed and adequately equipped tax revenue managers who drive the process both on and off the field. This new reality drives the desire by the JTB to ensure that the identification of individuals and corporate bodies in Nigeria is achievable. It is not only important that these records are available, it is equally important that records are credible and reliable, and that they're accessible under a secure environment, online, real-time. The role that data plays in today's world cannot be overemphasized. And for the revenue potentials of the country to be maximally harnessed, it is essential that credible and reliable data is available for use. Such records are also essential to facilitate the ease of doing business and for the nation to achieve its overreaching economic objectives in line with the economic recovery and growth plan. We are confident that this new system will add immense value to tax revenue administration in the country, not only in terms of processes and procedures, but in terms of efficiency and ensuring a coordinated and systematic approach towards managing revenue generation as well as tax information sharing between and among tax authorities both within and outside the country. This new system also provides immense benefits to taxpayers. The consolidated database, apart from providing a unique identity to taxpayers, also facilitates ease of compliance. It limits the incidence of double taxation and is a prerequisite for a number of transactions, such as sale and purchase of immovable property, registration of vehicles, applications for plots of land, import and export licenses, registration as a contractor, entry visas, among others. Ultimately, the system promotes the ease of doing business for both individual and corporate bodies. My deep appreciation goes to our partners, Corporate Affairs Commission, Nigerian Customs Service, Nigeria Immigration Service, Federal Road Safety, Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, Nigeria Identification Management Commission, Nigeria Communications Commission, as well as our consultants for their cooperation and professional display of expertise that has made today a reality. While we are yet to take delivery of taxpayer data from some of the organizations mentioned, such as the Central Bank of Nigeria via the Nigeria Interbank Settlement Systems and the National Identification Management Commission, we believe that today's ceremony reinforced the need for us to work together as one to promote the economic and recovery growth plan of Mr. President. We would like to thank them in anticipation of their commitment to release this required data to JTB as soon as possible. I would like to commend the members of the Technical Working Committee for this project, for their commitments and constructive inputs from the pre-implementation stage through deployment phase till date. We believe that with this new TIN registration system, we'll be reinforcing the laudable efforts of this administration, that is, the government administration, towards building a robust tax revenue administration system, promoting a tax-friendly environment, and ensuring a sustainable and inclusive economy for all Nigerians. At this stage, I'd like to highlight some of the major significant landmarks that this government, the federal government, has been able to achieve with the following modest achievements. Some were already mentioned by the MC before me. I guess as an investigative journalist, she did her homework very well, so I might be repeating a few of them. But I think it's very important that we highlight the support that the federal government, the Ministry of Finance, and other stakeholders have put in to ensure that today is a day that we can all celebrate that we're about to change the financial profile of Nigeria. Number one, the expansion of the tax base from 10 million to 20 million taxpayers, with a potential increase of up to 45 million taxpayers before the end of the third quarter 2019. A growth in the IGR of states by over 46.1% from 800 billion in 2016 to 1.16 trillion in 2018. A growth of FIRS collections by 53.81% from 3.3 trillion in 2016 to 5.32 trillion in 2018. With the 2018 total collection of 5.32 trillion being the highest collection, while non-oil revenue with a collection of 2.85 trillion accounted for 53.63% of total revenue collection. This is in line with the government's focus on diversification. For the first time in history of Nigeria, the federal government paid all outstanding pay tax liabilities owed by federal MDAs from 2002 to 2016, totaling 135.8 billion to various state governments in the month of May. Your Excellency, we'd like to thank you for that gesture demonstrated by the federal government in paying all outstanding tax liabilities owed by federal MDAs. We hope also that the state governments will take this cue and also remit to the Federation accounts taxes that are due to the Federation as when due. In the tax administration section of the World Bank Ease of Doing Business, Nigeria moved up positively by 25 places during the period, and it's expected that the country would further move up in the rankings by the time the review for 2019 is published. Today's event, which has brought together all tax authorities with a common vision and goal. We are posed, like I say, to change the financial profile of Nigeria. We can say goodbye to aid or donor support. And as a country that is said to have the largest GDP in Africa, I believe that we'll be showing a shining example for other African countries to follow. Once again, I'd like to acknowledge the positive role played by all our partners and stakeholders, because without them, this event would not be a reality. But most especially, our immense gratitude goes to His Excellency, Mr. President, and His Excellency, Mr. Vice President, for the exceptional attention this administration has paid to growing the nation's economy and all tax-related matters in particular. It is therefore no surprise of the level of mileage being achieved in tax revenue administration in the country, both in terms of volumes of collections and institutional reform. I thank you for listening, and as we build Nigeria to the Nigeria of our dreams, I'll ask that you continue to partner with us, and we also promise to be of good service, efficient service, convenient service. And as we build Nigeria, let's make Nigeria our choice destinations, either for business or for pleasure. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tunde Fowler, Chairman of the Joint Tax Board.
The Vice President comes up, we would like to update you that despite the recession, the FIRS was able to generate 3.3 trillion naira in 2016, increased by 20% in 2017 to 4.03 trillion naira and 5.32 trillion naira in 2018. This is a new record of highest revenue generation FIRS as against the 2012 record of 5.07 trillion naira. The target for this year, remember, is 8 trillion naira.
The new national tin registration system. Let me now invite the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Mr. Vice President.
Thank you very much. Please sit. The Chairman of the Joint Tax Board, Mr. Babatunde Fowler, the Executive Secretary of the Joint Tax Board, Mr. Oseni Elema, Your Excellency, the First Lady of Kwara State, Mrs. Olufolake Abdulrazak, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, Senator John Eno, former Senate Committee Chairman on Finance, and the Honorable Babangida Ibrahim, former Chairman, House Committee on Finance, heads of government parastatals and agencies, captains of industry, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very delighted to be here with you this morning at the launch of this very historic system and a very historic event itself, the new National Tin Registration System. The world, as I say, is constantly changing, and along with it, accepted ways of doing practically everything, including the management of economic and financial systems. As international boundaries dissolve under the reality of a globalizing world, and as financial and economic activities increasingly transcend geographical limitations, tax administration itself must of necessity continually adapt. Tax administration is built around data. Without credible and comprehensive data, an efficient tax system would simply be impossible. And to function optimally, tax systems have to be aware of the important statistics, important data, the numbers of eligible individuals, the volumes of business, volumes of economic activities, the designs and strategies to take advantage of this available data are also crucial. And this is where the necessity for a proper identification of eligible taxpayers, whether they be individuals or corporate entities, comes in. A tax identification number is simply a vital instrument for uniquely identifying as well as registering new taxpayers and to bring them into the tax bracket. I thought the drama team did an excellent job of explaining just how important this is for every type of business, whether it is Chief's business or Alaji's business or Igwe's business, whichever business, every one of them must come into that tax bracket, and it makes life so much easier for everybody who is doing business, whether it's local or international. It gives the managers also of the national tax administration systems the capacity to conveniently and efficiently access and collect information from multiple sources. It forms the basis for projecting future revenues, and for making realistic expenditure plans for governments. So the new TIN registration system will utilize existing data from a variety of authorized identity management agencies and help build a database that is reliable and verifiable. And just to elaborate a little more on that, at the moment we have data from corporate affairs, from the identity management systems, even from telcos, from telecommunications companies. All of that data is relevant for tax purposes. So what this does is that it brings all that data together in one particular system, which is our tax identification number. Every one of that data is now coordinated in one. So the ultimate outcome is increased revenues for government and, of course, the ease of doing business for practically every businessman or woman who must now be registered and who must now have an identification number. And this, of course, as you know, helps in every way to fund investments, social investments, human capital development, and more. I'm pleased to note that this new initiative aligns fully with the federal government's strategic objectives as contained in our Economic Recovery and Growth Plan and all of the other documents which are meant to power along Nigeria's economic development. Mention must also be made of how this new TIN system supports our ease of doing business. I think we could emphasize this a bit more. The increased automation of tax systems simply frees up room for businesses small and large to thrive, away from the strictures of the unnecessary bureaucracy and all that. And I think we heard also from the drama system how this reduces the possibilities of discretion and the possibilities of petty corruption, people asking for money here and there. An easier operating environment will have positive implications for corporate bottom lines as well, and a positive impact on tax revenues. I think by all of this, what we seek to achieve is really to attract business, not just international business, but even more importantly, local business. It is local investments that develop an economy the most. And if it's easy for the local person to do business, it becomes more attractive even for international businesses to come into the country. In the light of the foregoing, all the agencies critical to the optimal success of this initiative, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the National Interbank Settlement Systems, NIBS, the National Identity Management Commission, NIMSI, all of them have been directed by Mr. President to provide the fullest cooperation to the JTB, especially in the release of the relevant individual records. And I think that the Joint Tax Board, led by its chairman, Mr. Babatunde Fowler, all the partners and stakeholders who have made this possible, deserve our commendation for this giant leap. The Nigerian business environment is the better for your hard work and your continuous innovation. Congratulations. It is now my very special pleasure to proceed to the official launch of the new National Tax Identification Number Registration System. Thank you very much for listening.
The Executive Chairman, FIRS, would invite all of the stakeholders to join Mr. Vice President for the unveiling. Chairman, sir.
At this junction, I'd like to invite both Chairman of Finance in the past Senate and House of Representatives to join the Vice President, the Inspector General of Police, the CI10 President, and of course, our First Lady, also representing the Farm Sec Foreign Affairs.
My very special privilege, accompanied by the distinguished ladies and gentlemen standing around me, to officially commission the go live of the tax identity number registration system of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for the benefit of the people of Nigeria and to the glory of God.
Thank you so much. Group photograph with Mr. Vice President before they accompany him back to his seat. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. I'm told there is a gift for Mr. Vice President. Your Excellency, don't be in a hurry to leave, sir. There is a gift. Thank you very much. I'm being told that His Excellency, the Vice President, is not in a hurry to leave us because he believes very much in what we're doing today. God bless you for sparing the time to be here. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Unveiling of the certificate of the tax identification number, the very new one. And of course, the new system seeks to ensure seamless integration with relevant agencies by leveraging on already captured data for tax purposes. Reduce the burden of manual data sorting and the cost of collection, facilitate transparent tax administration, and harmonize taxpayers' data. It will also enhance automatic exchange of information amongst relevant agencies and institutions in Nigeria and beyond.
This gentleman talks professionally on oil and gas. When it comes to oil and gas, I've been at several events cutting across all sectors of the economy, and he invited as our special guest. I have observed that he talks off the cuff. He wouldn't need a prepared speech to talk. And I asked myself, are you surprised, Omotayo? He's not just a professor, he's a product of University of Lagos. Great Akokaites! Great Akokaites!
Now, with this new initiative, the project is also to ensure that credible and reliable data is available for use. Now, these data, of course, will facilitate the ease of doing business and enable Nigeria to attain the objective of sustainable funding for national development. This, of course, is in line with the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, the ERGP, which is the medium-term plan of the federal government that started in 2017 and will elapse by the year 2020. The project will add value to tax revenue administration in Nigeria. This, of course, will span across states, harmonizing data that every taxpayer at the touch of a button will be identified from whichever location in Nigeria. Where you're paying your taxes henceforth wouldn't matter because you would be identified in any location you are transacting businesses henceforth.
Ceremony some 31, 32 years ago. A lot of events, a lot of projects like this had been launched by this same nation, Nigeria. And believe you me, after the fun fair, there is no functionality. You try to test what would have been launched with so many people in the hall, so much fanfare. They do not work. Or should I say they didn't work? Because I'm referring to some years back. So when I went through the program and I read presentation of the teen registration system functionality by the project manager, I didn't have to go back to school. I didn't have to go back to UNILAG to understand what that meant. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to let you know how serious the issue of tax administration has become in Nigeria under President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, please put your hands together for Mr. Adewale Adedokun, the gentleman that's going to show us its functionality. Adewale Adedokun, you're welcome.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, GCON, all other protocols duly observed. I want to speak to the system, the National Teen Registration System, just to give brief description about the system. His Excellency, the Vice President, has said all that I need to say, as if he is part of the technical working committee. He knows all, and in fact, concisely, he has done all I need to do. So I am just going to run through the other highlights of the system. I'm not going to take our time. This is the first ever consolidated national taxpayer database in Nigeria, which promotes transparency, reduces human intervention, thereby reducing and eliminating malpractices. It assists in broadening the tax base by detecting unregistered taxpayers and bringing them into the tax net. Consolidated taxpayer database facilitates the automatic exchange of information among relevant agencies and institutions within Nigeria and beyond. The system was built to have analytics. That is, you can use correlation between records to flag off to the tax administrator and tax authorities things that the tax authority may not know about the taxpayers. There is an inbuilt analytics in the system. So the tax authority will have dashboards that will show them the linkages between the records, relationships between the records you have in the database. The system is available to tell the tax administrator that Mr. A has done so transactions with Nigeria Customs Service, and if the taxpayer is not giving the full information to the tax authority, the system is able to flash those things to the tax authority, the tax administrator, so that he or she can have enough adequate information to do proper assessment. You may say you sell a recharge card beside the road, but the customs service that this system is talking to will return returns, it will return records of transactions which you have done, and the tax authority will be able to see you clearly. So there is visibility in the system. It will see you clearly that you are not really a recharge card seller, but you are more than that. You do importation and export. This system minimizes human errors during the audit process, as the tax administrator is empowered with more information at his or her disposal. It improves the knowledge base of tax officers. It improves the tax authority's response time to inquiries and complaints. It eliminates double registration of taxpayers. It is available by 24/7 every time, So at the comfort of the taxpayer's home or your office, you can actually request for TIN, and the tax authority will take it over from there. You will automatically get a taxpayer identification number. Unlike the current system, the old system where we expect the taxpayer to come around to the tax authority before we can profile the taxpayer. Now, like the Vice President has said, we are leveraging on this system with abundant data that resides in agencies like National Identity Management Commission, BVN, Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, Corporate Affairs Commission. For instance, Corporate Affairs Commission, as we speak here, is directly integrated with this system. And if you register in Corporate Affairs Commission now, before you walk out of the office of CAC, your data that the JTB needs, the JTB system needs to automatically generate taxpayer identification number for you, will be shared with this system, and automatically you will have a taxpayer identification number. So you do not need to visit the tax authority for you to get a TIN. So we are not waiting for taxpayers to come around again. Meanwhile, we leverage on existing data in those agencies we have mentioned. We are not really waiting on CAC, NIMS, and NIMC alone. We are also integrating with Nigeria Customs Service, like I said, Nigeria Immigration Service. We have Nigerian Stock Exchange. We are integrating with them so that when you do transactions, you carry out transactions with all these agencies. Federal Road Safety Commission, you actually have a G-Wagon. You have just registered a G-Wagon. Meanwhile, you are telling the tax authority that you are a retiree and you don't have any business. So by the time we have your data from Federal Road Safety Commission, the tax authority will have enough data to adequately do proper assessment. On this system, we have a mobile app, and the mobile app has a lot of modules for the taxpayer. If you look at the screen, you will see mobile app is on our phone. We can download from Google Store and use it like any other app. We have TIN registration. With this mobile app, you can submit a request for taxpayer identification number on the go. We have a module that is talking to TIN check. You can verify your taxpayer identification number on this mobile app if you don't know your TIN. We have a module that is talking to the nearest tax offices. You are in a place in Nigeria and you want to know the nearest tax office that will administer taxes on you, whether as an individual or non-individual taxpayer. We have a message board. The message board is to broadcast. If JTB wants to communicate a message to taxpayers, it can even be a category of taxpayers. It may not be everybody. We may say taxpayers that are living in Gwagwalada, or taxpayers that are living in the whole of Abuja, taxpayers that are living in Ondo, Akure. So this is able to do that for us. We have important tax dates. That's a module on it again. You want to know when you should do your returns, submit your returns, file returns as a taxpayer. The important tax dates are there. When you should make your payment so that you will run away from penalty. Those are there in that module. We have tax laws. The relevant tax laws that you need to know as a taxpayer, we have that module. Immediately you click it, it will give you the tax law you want to read so that you can have, you'll be aware of your obligations as a taxpayer. Another component of the system is the TIN verification portal. The portal is here. That is a sample of what you will see if you go to that URL, tinverification.jtb.gov.ng. For an individual, you submit your date of birth. That is very important. That's the first one, is mandatory. For a non-individual, you submit date of incorporation. After that, we have search criteria down there, the second field. If you are an individual, you submit BVN or your mobile phone, mobile number. If you're a non-individual, you submit your date of incorporation up, and down here you submit your CAC or your corporate phone number. Then if you click search, you will load this basic data you are having at the right-hand side. From here, you can now print your certificate. You print or download. If you put send to email, if you put your email address there, it will send an electronic copy of your TIN certificate into your email address, your box, and you can print as many times as possible from your email. That's what we call electronic TIN certificate. Now we want to go ahead. This is the sample of the TIN certificate you have. If you say you download or you want to print, the name of the taxpayer, for instance, we have here, Pay Your Tax Nigeria Limited, you have your TIN, then date of issue, the date you have the TIN generated for you. It's a taxpayer that belongs to Federal Inland Revenue Service because it's a limited liability company. And that's the address of the taxpayer, 12 Sokode Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. In this certificate, we have the QR code. The QR code is the technology that we encoded there for you to confirm the authenticity of this certificate. If you have your QR app and you snap this, you will see the detail you are seeing on the paper. And again, it will connect you to the database, the National TIN Registration Database. It is there, you confirm these details. So it's a secure, that's the security on the document, so that anyone that is being bandied around, you can actually know whether that one is from JTB or not. We want to do a demo of this certificate. We want to search. That is the home page of the system. At the extreme left, we have the verification portal. At the extreme right here, we have where you can submit requests for TIN from your home or you go from anywhere. The middle module is for internal users in JTB, the tax administrators. So let's go to TIN verification. Now we want to verify a taxpayer detail. That's the date of birth that is being supplied. Then we supply the mobile number. The mobile number of the taxpayer that was registered in the system. So we click the CAPTCHA, which is another security feature. We click search. It's supposed to generate, to load. That's the basic data of the taxpayer. That's the TIN of the taxpayer. That's the name of the taxpayer. And that's the phone number you just supplied there now. So it is real, it's working. You can, in your home, in your office, anywhere, do this and click. So let us click print or download. That is the TIN certificate. So it's simple, it doesn't take time, it's very fast. This is a sample of what you have. And this belongs to Adedo Kwandewale with that taxpayer identification number. He's a taxpayer in FCT Internal Revenue Service because he lives in Abuja and works in Abuja. And that's his address, Joint Tax Board Office, Abuja. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Adewale Adedokun, who is the project manager of the TIN. Simple and straight, and it's fast, and he's just demonstrated the downloading. Yes, the symbolic unveiling has been done by the Vice President, and I was just thinking, perhaps, Executive Chairman, sir, perhaps you're going to present the VP's TIN certificate to him, and that's what we'll call on the Executive Chairman of the FIRS to do right away, since this, at the touch of a button, would be ready. I call on the Executive Chairman and the Executive Secretary of the Joint Tax Board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for demonstrating what this can do. But as he was demonstrating, I was asking myself, he might be making some people afraid, because he told you what we can do with that information. But I'd like to tell you what you can do with that information. Anytime you make any payment to government, this record will also keep an accurate history of all your payments. So you don't have to start looking for papers. If you had transactions with customs, or you made your tax payments over the years, over 3, 4, 5 years, instead of keeping a lot of paperwork, this system will also give you accurate information. So it's also for the convenience and benefit of taxpayers, not only for tax administrators to charge you more, but it also has its benefits for all taxpayers. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to invite His Excellency, the Vice President, to give him his own tax certificate. And I asked him a question. I said, Ogasa, I'm not sure whether they have jammed the system in this hall, but if they have not, I can also use my smartphone to read his barcode and show him the information contained. Although that information is private to him, I'll just show him alone. But first of all, let me present this. On behalf of, and I'll come there. On behalf of Nigeria, sir, we'd like to present you with your tax clearance certificates under the new JTB 10.
Don't forget, in the words of Dr. Tunde Fowler, he says, anytime you make payment to government, this new system will give you accurate information. End of quote. Accurate information. So it's not just for the government to be able to collect more and more and more revenue. It's also for you to be sure that you are well recorded. Your figures are well recorded. You are well represented by this project.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. After receiving my TIN, I checked. It shows that I've paid my taxes.
That's a good one.
As and when due. Of course, I'm not at liberty to tell you how much I paid. But let me just say that I paid. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Another round of applause for Mr. Vice President. He has collected his TIN, and he just told us it shows that he has paid his taxes. I stand here today to ask you, have you paid your taxes? Ask the next person seated to you, have you paid your taxes? Have you paid your taxes? Let that become our payoff today as responsible Nigerian citizens. Let us start asking ourselves, have you paid your taxes? Without much ado, we gradually coming to the end of this flag-off.
As the program winds down, it is imperative to note that this in no way abolishes the existing taxpayer identification number, but instead it is consolidating on what every individual taxpayer has, and it is aligning the data from the tax authorities with every other agencies where data is being used to run the daily activities, and this will ensure more transparency, as earlier stated, more practicability, but perhaps more importantly is the elimination of human interaction, because you can easily go online now with this launch and input your data and get your payment done effectively without having to interact with any human being. And this is going to, of course, make it easy to reduce the activities that come with loss of revenue, not only to the federal government, but to the states and local governments as well.
That has been pencil down to move the vote of thanks, rounding up this very, very august occasion in the month of July. In actual fact, the year has been a split, so to say. We're now at the middle, the real middle of the year. 6 months gone, another 6 months just getting started. And so we're so delighted that we're starting the remaining half of the year with a beautiful project like this. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I call on Mr. Abiodun Aino, Coordinating Director, Domestic Taxes Group, Special Advisor to the Executive Chairman, FIRS. He is moving the vote of thanks. Thank you.
His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Chairman of Joint Tax Board, Mr. Babatunde Fowler, and other board members of JTB, comprising of all the state chairmen and FCT and other co-opted members of the board, we want to say thank you all for finding time to attend this epoch-making occasion. We appreciate the support of the federal government and our sister agencies that have made this day a success. We thank you very much for coming, and we appreciate your presence here today. We wish you safe passage on your return journey, and thank you all for coming. God bless you all.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may we once again rise for the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much, and that brings to conclusion.
Go Live is officially open to all Nigerian taxpayers, and this is where we draw the curtains, marking the end of this outside broadcast by the Joint Tax Board. From here, the NAF base, my name is Leah Katung, and on behalf of the entire crew members right here with me, we hand you over to the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority for continuation of normal scheduled programs. Thank you.
Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at